welcome back to the channel. Today I have a special guest with me, Jerry. You can find him on Facebook. As you see in front of you here, this is a sample of some of the things that he does. And if you want a custom tray for your pistols, for like what we're doing here together in a collaboration for a particular product development, he made a nice little insert for the box for us. And he can pretty much come up with whatever you can dream up, and he can fit inside of his space for 3D printing. And I'm going to let Jerry go from there because he knows a lot more about it than I do. And then we'll ask some questions along the way, and then at the end I'll do my little bit. So Jerry?
Yeah, hey guys.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Craig. This is a brand new thing for me, first time doing a video, yeah, so I got into this 3D printing about early January of this year. I was working from home, came up with an idea for a tray. I felt like I needed something to hold my guns. And then I saw someone on Facebook selling a stand. Mm-hmm. There's another person in a different 2011 group selling a stand, and I ordered a stand from him. And it was kind of pricey, but I'm like, okay, this is something cool. I've never seen it before. It's
Sure.
custom made. So I placed the order, and about 2 weeks went by. I didn't hear anything. 3 weeks went by. I sent him a couple messages. Well, it's in the process. And the whole ordeal took, I want to say, maybe 6 weeks to get my stand finally, after sending multiple texts and, you know, almost like wanting to just cancel the order.
Sure.
You know, I'm like, it was just got frustrating. So I'm like, you know, I can do this better, you know. So I kind of collaborated with a neighbor of mine. We designed this tray together. Took like 13 hours on his printer to print. Oh, wow. You know, once I printed it, I showed it off to a couple of my friends that I shoot with on a regular basis, and they loved it. They're like, oh, this is so cool. I've never seen anything like that, right? So, like, okay, so maybe I can do this on my own, right? So I went out, I researched the best printers that I can get, and, you know, long story short, now I make probably 1 or 2 trays every day, or maybe a little more. And what I love about doing this 3D printing is you can customize it.
Sure.
You know, different colors, different logos. If you can dream it, you can make it, right? I have a limitation of how big I can make the width and height and depth, but within those limitations, as you can see, there's just a world of possibilities.
So we've talked about that before when we talked about the limitations, and I know they make bigger machines.
They do.
And then there's also where I see people make 3D printing things, and they basically do it in stages where they actually end up connecting them together. So obviously, is that an option? That
is an option. I mean, you can probably, you know, like I say, if you can design it, you can dream it, you can make it on a 3D printer. My plate is about 8 and a half by 9 inches. There's a little space that has to be left for like a little color block if you do multicolor prints. But I can do 4, 8 colors in one tray. The printer comes with 4 rolls of filament, and you can almost like connect about 4 of those together. So almost up to 16, 17 colors if you really wanted to. Wow. I only play around with like 4 color options. I think that just, the more you get into more colors, it just starts to become a very complex, and it's almost too much, you know. So yeah, but you can daisy chain these things. You know, if you can design a tray that would interlock with multiple trays together, you can make something really long. I've seen people make full-size statues on some printers of my size. Oh wow! That, you know, like droids and whatnot, you know, Star Wars things. But they do it in stages, right? Sure. You have to really be careful how you put it together, and you use glue to kind of keep it, you know, keep it together.
So not the most rigid if you glue it together,
yeah, yeah. I mean,
more of a display piece than
and there are industrial 3D printers out there. You can make, full-size things too,
sure.
right?
Well,
but this is something.
You have deep pockets for it.
Right, exactly, right. I wanted to do this more of as a hobby. Like I don't make a living off of this. I just do this because I was really frustrated with what the process was of my original order and what I wanted, and I thought, it just got to be a better way, right? I pride myself on really taking the order, making it custom, asking the people what they really want, and then making it in a day or two and shipping. And most people are amazed that I can turn it around. Like the next day, I'm sending them a tracking number and saying, hey, here's your order. It's on the way, right? They're like, oh, wow.
And folks, I'm not lying when I tell you, we just had a conversation on one of the groups in Facebook, and the lady had said that she had ordered trays from you for this event that they're doing. And she said, he's so fast. And I had to agree. I said, he is. He's the best. I said, in today's market, the problem is everybody wants everything right now. And it's great that you're comfortable at the time. But like I told you, when we start going full bore with our stuff, it's going to involve probably a whole nother printer just to be dedicated to do the things that we need to do. And it's going to be, but because I know he's got a fast turnaround time, and it's great because he's local.
Yeah.
For now, until I get out of the state. But anyway, it's another story altogether. But eventually, we'll have it all set up to where he ships right away, folks. So if you really want or need a tray quickly, reach out and let them know, because I'm telling you, within a couple days, your stuff's going to be in the mail and on the way to you. So.
I really pride myself on doing that, right? So I understand that people want their stuff quickly, and some people may be okay with waiting a week or two, right? But I have this, I don't call it anxiety, but this drive to get it done as fast as I can.
Sure.
And, to a fault, because my wife gets on me like, hey, it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night.
Guilty.
Go to sleep, right? Get off that computer, quit designing stuff, and just...
Right.
And, it takes 3, 4, 5 hours to print a tray, so I have to plan my day out accordingly so that, I can send it to the printer first thing in the morning, maybe do something else, go to work, come back, and then send another tray to the printer, right? And to make sure I'm not wasting all that time.
Sure.
But, like with your project coming up, I can scale up fairly quickly, add another machine or two, and you can get those things pretty local. I can get them online in a couple of days and set them up. Now that I know what I'm doing and how the software behaves and what I need to do, it's fairly easy to scale up. So not afraid of large projects, not afraid of a lot of custom work. It's just, chicken and egg. You have the orders, you can make them, right? But yeah, my goal was always to beat customers' expectations, right?
Sure.
My day job, I do something else that customers expect certain level of communication, right? Transparency and honesty, right? And that's what I want to provide. And with that, hopefully generates more of these orders. Honestly, about 40% of my orders are repeat customers, because people have saw it, they touched it, they saw how quickly they get there and the stuff in their hands, and they keep reordering. So I absolutely love that. So
what would you say your most challenging has been to date?
Some custom logos are really difficult. Like learning the whole software side of this. So how to take a logo, regular 2D, create a 3D logo, and then put it into the printer slicer program, and for it to print nice and flat without height variations. And I've wasted hours and material plenty of times of just sending things to the printer and then realizing, oh shit, it just came out wrong.
Right.
And had to redo it and relearn that. So that's probably the most challenging. I mean, the technical part of it, is tough. And then when something happens to the printer, if it's a mechanical device, just like a gun, right? Things can happen, things can break. Understanding how to fix it and not to get too frustrated with it, right? And be able to get it back online and rolling again has been challenging. But, thank goodness for YouTube. Thank goodness for all this information out there. We're such an age of getting information for, say for free, but just, your time that you're willing to invest in it, and learn from other people you know, and like yourself and others out there, you know, it's the time and your abilities to how much you really wanted to invest in it that's challenging.
And I know when we first started collaborating, it was when I came to him and I had to explain to him what we're trying to do. And then
without giving too much information.
Yeah, and because everything was still top secret because we hadn't put anything out there yet with our product. And we're not really top secret, but for us it is because it's a big deal. And don't let people fool you. Anybody in the gun industry will be the first ones to admit that, hey, you got to be real quiet about what you're doing or else somebody else is going to swoop in and try to take it out from underneath you. And, you know, so long story short is that I gave measurements to Jerry and he made up some trays and sent them to me and I went, oh boy, because I didn't measure the total inside. I went to this outside lip, and the problem with that is there's another lip in there, and the tray was a little too thick, so it wouldn't allow it to close and latch. So what I ended up doing was sending Jerry one of the boxes and said, here, you figure it out. I don't have time for this right now. And so he did. He was able to radius it correctly and you know, get everything to where it fits in there nicely. And much like what Jerry's saying, the reason we're doing this is because, you know, it's perceived value. You know, when you get something that's made well, made here, made by Americans, it's a kind of a lost art at this point, and we're trying to bring that back. And I am only partnering with people that do the same. Jerry was my first one that we partnered with. We're partnering with Apex Tactical for small parts. And thanks again, Scott, for sending that stuff out to me. We're partnering with Angry Bear Arms for their sights. Caleb, thank you. Unfortunately, our sites got lost in the system at UPS somewhere in Palatine. So
they'll get here sooner or later.
Yeah, he's resending the order because we can't figure out what's going on with it. It's strange. But anyway, so we're trying to partner up with people that have the same mindset, and it's, you know, if you can do it and do it well and give a good high quality product to the end user, which is you folks, that's what this is all about. And that's the whole thing that Jerry's trying to do, that we're trying to do, that a lot of other companies are trying to do, because the corporate greed part of it, they get so big and the prices just keep soaring and soaring and soaring. And you know, if we ever start to get that way, I hope somebody comes up and reminds me of this someday and says, hey, what happened to? And then I go, you know, I don't think it'll ever happen because I've spent most of my career in firearms industry watching from the outside and just shaking my head and saying there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way because it's not fair. You know, and I shouldn't really say fair. It's not wise to price things so high that it's unreachable for most folks, because then you turn away a big part of your business. Now, I'm not saying you need to make it cheap, because there's that side too. If you want to put together something cheaply, like, you know, I know you're not going to make it that way because your name's on the line. And the same with us. You know, we don't want to make things cheaply. So if we decide, hey, you know, this is what we want, you know, and we want to give it to you at a fair price, we're not going to sacrifice quality. You know, either we have to put that price into the price of the item that you're getting, or we have to eat it, one of the two. And depending on how expensive that gets, are we willing to take the hit, or are we willing, or, you know, or is the customer willing to pay for that little bit of extra? And in the end of the day, it's not, you know, this huge amount of money. Things can be done very well for a little bit of money. And if you're just not being greedy, I guess is the biggest thing I can put out there is, you know, things can be made really well and for a lot less money than what people think. The problem is the overhead. That's where a lot of people don't figure that part into the equation, which, as you know, you start buying printers and filament, and with us it's raw materials and machines and, you know, the whole 9 yards. It's a lot, folks. It is a lot to overcome.
starting up a small business is not an easy thing, right? You have the customer service, the craftsmanship that goes into it, right? But then there's also running the business, right? So it's like you have to have many hats, and you have to kind of put them on and off, and put yourself in different situations, and really understand all aspects of it. Because you can make a great product, but then end up in that. Right, or you can try to make a shitty product and then people stop buying it, right? So you have to do everything well, and then starting out a small business is not an easy thing. As I commend you on doing this, because it's a big undertaking, it's a big risk, right?
It's huge. I mean,
it's a big risk.
If people that know me know that I work a full-time job still, along with starting this company with my brother. And unfortunately, my brother is in our Tennessee location, which is where the actual business is out of. So he's unable to join us today. But if he were here, he'd tell you the same thing. It's very difficult, and I have to do a lot of the work because I was the one that came up with this whole crazy idea. I'm the one that has all the designs rattling around in this big old dome of mine. And, I'm sure you're the same way. You start... The creativity starts to flow, and then you're like, oh, I could do this, I could try that, I could do this. And, it's dangerous because, as I said before to you, we're off camera, when you start with this stuff, if it's a pet project of yours, it's fine, but understand that it may not be everybody's favorite flavor. So what ends up happening is you may love it when you get done. It's exactly what you wanted, but then somebody else may look at it and go, well, it looks like crap, and that's always the biggest fear. I think if you just take the time and listen to what people want, and, within reason, there's only so much that we can do as manufacturers that is doable in a certain platform. And I think that's the hardest thing to explain to people is like, I would love to build you that. However, I can't do it on, like, for instance, this slide that we did.
Yeah, let's talk about the slides. Show maybe a couple different, what you have here.
So we decided to basically, I don't know how well it's going to show up or not, but ours is based off of a 1911 style slide. And it's made for the SIG P320, and we offer it right now in the 4.7 and the 3.9 inch. And where we go here? Here we go. I got a Mischief Machine grip module, and paired it up with our slide and barrel combo, and as Jerry and I were sitting here talking, again, off camera right before we started, and he pulled out his Dan Wesson.
There we go.
And you can see, this was not on purpose. I've never even held one of those until today. And they're very similar. I mean, the grip's different, but overall, the look is pretty much on point. So if you're looking for a DWX, but you have a 320, well, I guess you're pretty much 90% of the way there.
I love how these are very similarly ported.
Yeah, and it's porting is similar. Again, it is accidental, but it's.
Is yours direct mount too on the red dot?
Yep, direct mount. So
same here.
We have we followed SIG's pattern because so many people that already have a 320 have red dots for whatever slide they have for their 320. So we have the RMR and the DPP or Romeo 1 Pro footprint already on there. And as you can see, the 320 SCS fits on there perfectly. I can't say enough good things about that. I don't know if you've ever tried one of those, but they're phenomenal. They're very rugged. Doesn't take a battery.
Oh.
Yeah, it's solar.
Really?
Yeah, and then all you have to do is expose it to light for like 20 minutes, and
phenomenal.
It's like 15,000 hours every time it gets out in the light. So
take it to open range and leave it on a tray for a little bit. Let it charge up. And
well, you don't even need to. Once you do it once, it just keeps on going.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. But anyway, so that's our first product offering, and I'm not going to give away too much, but I will say that because we've been paying attention to what people want, what they're asking for, our next project is going to be a 2011 or 1911 double stack stainless steel grip. I'm not going to say anything more about it right now. We're in the process of putting it together as we speak.
It's coming.
It's coming, probably within the next week or two. I'm hoping that we have a sample in hand.
I can't wait, man. I really need to put it on this on this P. This one's a bit customized, yeah, I can't wait to add a real metal grip module to this thing.
So we are going to do it in 3 different ways. We're going to have the stainless steel version. We're going to have a aluminum version, and then we're going to have, believe it or not, we have a source that is not proprietary to SIG, but it is their own proprietary blend of tungsten infused polymer.
Oh, sounds great.
So for those that want that softness of the polymer as far as absorbing recoil, but yet want the weight, we'll have you covered there. So we're looking forward to doing that, because that's something that hasn't been done yet that I'm aware of. Somebody can correct me down below in the comments if that's not the case, but yeah, so that's coming. We've got a couple other things in the stovepipe too, so we're working on our own grip module again for the 320 to kind of go with our slide. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. It's never ending, and it's a daily, you know, phone calls and meetings, and I don't do the hour-long stuff, though, if I can avoid it. I try to get my meetings short and done and over with and on my way, because, again, working another full-time job on top of it is really tough. So, because, you know, time, like you said before, you know, your wife, my wife, God bless both of them, because
for supporting us.
They put up with a lot, because it takes away a lot of time.
For sure.
I try to do it when she's either sleeping or not home, and it has worked out pretty well for the most part, but not always.
Yeah.
You know, so take your wife out for a nice dinner, you know.
I owe her for sure. If I may, Craig, one thing, you know, about these trays is, I have one here off to the side, is if anyone wants to design something custom, we can do anything just about, right? I also started to do these with these removable, let me get this one out. A removable stand, so you can mix and match if you wanted to display your guns, so you're a 1911 or a CZ or like a SIG or a 2011 on the same tray, or you mix and match, change them around. All of that is possible. Right? Originally, my first ones were designed with just regular, stationary grip, and then I thought, someone asked, it was through collaboration with a customer, like, hey, can you make it a removable? I'm like, let me see. I think I can.
Which I got to tell you.
And that's how it started, right?
With our tray that we're going to be offering, and of course Jerry's making ours as well, we have the same thing. And the biggest point that I think you didn't mention yet, that I'll go ahead and mention, because this is one of the things that piqued my interest, with having these being removable, this fits in your range bag, folks.
Yeah, you can make it nice and flat. Yep.
And so it's
that's how when someone asked about that, right? Like, hey, can you make it flat so I can put it in a range bag and take it to the range? I'm like, let me think about this. And it works, man, and it really works well. And
it does.
Yeah.
I mean, folks, these are not lightweight guns in front of you here. Any of you that have 2011s or 1911 double stacks, whatever, they're heavy. And these trays support them perfectly. They don't go anywhere. They barely move if you get bumped. They're very solid, very rigid.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's a great way to do it.
What's nice about these is they're surprisingly functional. You can put it on your bench, break your gun down. We have a barrel stand. We have a guide rod stand. Once you clean it, you put it in place. Separate little area here if you wanted to put, other parts. But nothing's rolling off, nothing's, getting misplaced. Everything's in one spot. So, yeah.
No, that's great. My only problem is because they look so nice. I'm almost afraid to half the time to use
you don't want to get dirty.
I don't want to get dirty because I know what it takes to clean them. So it's but no, it's great because it's a nice way to get set up. Now, obviously, if you're at an indoor range. If you're not bringing the whole arsenal with you, if you're just taking 1 or 2 guns, this is great. This would be a good way to put it up on there and let it cool down in between times shooting it and everything else. But keep in mind, that area there is kind of small. By the time you add your range bag and your ammo and your guns and everything else, It's a lot of stuff in a very small area, so that's why this size is darn near perfect, because it doesn't get in the way. Because if you were to lay your gun on the side, it's about the same footprint.
Yeah.
So
it's nice because you stand them up. I've been into the range where I took a tray, flat tray with 3 of the stands, and have all the 3 guns, and they're not laying there. I hate when you have to put it down on that table. I always feel like I'm scratching something. So setting it up on a tray and keeping it always in a safe direction, and letting it cool off. It's it's very functional. It's helpful, right? Speaking of functionality, I actually started to make these detent plates for the 2011 mags, like Staccatos or Atlas, right? And all it is, it replaces the factory
floor plate,
right? So super easy to replace. And this has saved me numerous times of mixing up my mags with my buddies' mags, because now the Staccatos are fairly popular. There's like 4 or 5 of us in a group of maybe 12 that shoot Staccatos, and we do the Edmund reloads, we do the tactical reloads, right? We drop the mags on the ground, and then you go out there and you pick them up, and sometimes you pick up somebody else's. You end up probably go, shit, that's not mine, right?
Yeah, guilty as charged.
Yeah, with these numbers and colors, they're which ones are yours, and then if you have an issue with one, you put it to the side, you know which number it was, right? I don't have to use a magic marker to.
Oh, that's a good point.
To mark these up and to know which one's what, right? So set it to the side, and I know to change the spring or work on that mag later. So yeah, that was my little plug. The only other thing that I've been doing is, well, there's a few other things, but like little holders for mag holders for your safe. This is very functional, so I can give you those. I've actually been also doing the Mantis attachments. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I do remember you mentioning this before.
Yeah, I make the Mantis attachment, right? So this goes at the bottom of the magazine.
Now, for people that don't know, what is the Mantis? Because I think that came up in that conversation online.
A Mantis is a software-based tool, right? It attaches to your either rail, right? It's just a little bit, little, what do you call it, little attachment. I wish I had it with me. Attaches to the rail.
Like on your light rail?
Yeah, on the light rail. Or, so if you put it on your light rail, you need if you do a holster draws, you need a specialized holster to be able to accommodate that. So I've been like, wait, I can do this on a magazine, right? It's the same thing.
Ingenuity.
And I can do, do these and be able to do reloads in holster draw without using my regular holster.
Sure.
I don't have to get a customized holster. I don't have to pretend like I'm having a holster, right? I can actually time myself and use Mantis and train that. It's really training your trigger control.
Sure.
Right. Your grip and your trigger control. Yeah, so that's just one more thing we make.
So, real quick on that, Jerry and I both are instructors, and so obviously, what do we always tell students? Train with what you're going to use, right?
That's right. That's
right.
Well,
there's your whole point. If you're going to use and take the time to buy the right holster for you, the right setup, why would you want to change that out when you add something on the, to actually help you train? That kind of goes against everything that we teach. So this is a brilliant idea, folks. If you, and I'm not just pimping it just because, I'm telling you as an instructor, that is exactly what you should be doing, is finding a solution for the problem, not changing up what you're using, because that can be detrimental, in your training. So I don't know. I do like where that is at. I wonder, because you see all these other systems out there. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the names off the top of my head because I haven't played with any of them. But I know they have the cartridges that go, they go inside with the lasers.
Yeah,
and,
I have actually that inside here. So what I do is I pair it up with a Rogers round, right? So I can, and this is just to show everybody. It's empty.
Yep.
Correct. So, you can rack it, right? Practice that trigger pull. And Mantis attached, so as you're doing target acquisition, as you're pulling the trigger, Mantis measures your micro little movements, right? And the Rogers round helps you, right, with not having to eject a round every single time and load a bunch of dummy rounds into the mag. Yeah, but it's train the way you carry, right?
Yeah,
the way
absolutely.
The way you shoot.
Because in those high stress situations, you're not going to have time to switch up and go to something different. You know, well, we're not going to get into all that.
No,
right
but
now.
this is a perfect. This is a perfect point. Like you train the way you're going to execute, right?
Right.
Only perfect practice makes perfect.
Absolutely.
Shitty practice doesn't make do anything for you. It just makes you worse at shooting is a perishable skill. If we don't practice it well and practice it correctly, we're never going to execute correctly.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And folks, it's more for you folks. I mean, we do this on a regular basis, and it was funny when Jerry and I first got together. I didn't know he was an instructor. He didn't know I was an instructor. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, you're an instructor. Oh, you're an instructor. Oh, okay. It's just funny how small this industry is. How many people that we all know in the industry, and it's basically. I was joking around with the guys the other day when we had our little meeting. And I said, isn't it funny how it's like most people say 6 degrees of separation. It only takes 6 people to know everybody in the entire world.
Yeah.
In the gun world, it's like 2. That's all you need to know, and you'll know everybody. So I mean, it's funny how it works out.
We were talking the other day about, hey, this guy, and this guy. Like, oh my God,
it's just funny. It's just, like a couple people, then all of a sudden you know everybody. Yeah. It's a small industry, folks. It's not as big as everybody makes it out to be. But that's another thing too, is because it's such a small industry, with big, there's a lot of large companies out there, and I think that's where a lot of this got lost, is the corporations. When you get into corporate size, it's great because you're pumping out a lot of product, but I think you lose touch with the customer base a little bit. And not only do I think that, I truly believe that, because it's great if you can put products out fast, and that is the big part about being a corporation. You have the ability to scale things up and get it out the door quickly. We can do fairly well with that, but if we had to do the thousands that some of these manufacturers do, it would be taxing, to say the least. Yeah. And I think that's where, when you run into, like when you look at what's on the table here, your staccatos, which are, duty-built guns, and they're production line. Same with my Prodigy. The SIG P320, Bull to a certain extent. There's some more hand fitting involved there, but then you get into your Dan Wessons, which are more hand fitted, so it takes more time.
The H-TAC even,
your Phoenix Trinity, and then you get your staccato as well. Yeah. But so the Phoenix Trinity, there's a lot more hand fitting involved there. So there's certain things that cause delays, and I think people just need to be understanding that, in this age of I want it and I want it now, sometimes it does take a little bit of time to get good things out the door. Yeah. And, so far you've been very successful in getting it out fast, which is, I was mind blown. We had a conversation one night, and the next morning, hey, your package is on the way, and I'm going, what? That floored me, and that was really, the first time I had done something with him like that. And I just thought when he did the one here, my Prodigy plate, I thought he had him just kind of sitting around, and no, that wasn't the case. He actually printed it off and handed it out to me in like 2 days, and I went, wow, that's fast. Because again, like he said, I talked to a lot of other people, and they said, oh yeah, I'm a few weeks out from getting them done. And I'm going, a few weeks? I'm like, it's a 3D printer. How's it a few weeks? Right. You punch it in and you go, especially if you've already made it before. And that was the nice part, was this one we didn't have to even think about. I told him he already had it, so I said, just do me the one with the cross cannons in there, and we're good. It started getting a little bit nutty when we did the one for the company.
I did like 6 iterations of this thing.
Yeah, he sent me a whole bunch. Matter of fact, I got the pile sitting over there still. Yeah. And so we went back and forth on a few things, but he took a little bit of creative license and made different ones and said, which one do you like? You know, so he also did a few others here that, you know, this was a little narrower than the one that I have sitting here. And then he got a little creative with this one with the gold. I'm not a gold guy, you know. But I mean, you know, it just shows that things can be done differently, and done to different tastes.
You know, like this Phoenix 20 H-TAC is pretty unique. You know, if you can, let's just say, if you can dream it, you can build it.
And I know that's kind of like the tagline for the printing industry, and it's true though. I mean, if there's nothing, the only thing stopping you from doing any of this yourself is you.
Yeah,
I mean,
that is
really,
100% correct.
You know, it's time, money, your creative ability. If you're afraid to take that leap, I guess is what I'm trying to get around to saying here is don't be afraid. You know, yes, there is potential to go out there and spend a lot of money and get very little result. That's the scary part. Yeah. But the fun part is the learning process and seeing what, you know, people like, what they don't like.
Yeah.
If you pay attention and you build it, they will come. You just have to pay very close attention to what you're doing. And again, don't do the pet projects. They'll get you in trouble in a heartbeat. I mean, you know, it's great because, you know, with what you're doing here, you can build something in, let's say, these trays. What average time, what does it take you to make one?
Design and kind of a perfected, you know, the computer work. Depends, you know, could be an hour, could be 3 or 4 hours. It depends, right? But then the actual printing, once you send it to the printer, it takes between like 2 hours for a simple stand, something like this for that C2, or you know, maybe like a tray like this is about maybe 3.5, 4 hours of print time, right? So I just want to make sure I space out my time throughout the day correctly. So if I have multiple projects going on, multiple prints, I'm there to be able to send the next one to the printer and take that one physically off and like reset the printer and all that stuff. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
So if you already have, obviously, if you have to create it, there's that time involved.
Yeah, there's extra. Yeah.
So that takes a little bit of doing, and of course, anything super custom, folks, is going to cost more money because it's time. Let's be honest, it's something we don't have a lot of.
Yeah, but you know, honestly, I haven't been upcharging much more for even custom work. It's like, if somebody's paying me for a tray, whether it took me 3 or 4 hours to design something, or if I had something on it already, maybe custom or already made that I just slightly customize, I've been charging the same price. I haven't really been trying to gouge anybody. You know, I mean, I want to make it fair. I want to make it quick. And want to make it sustainable so people are coming back for a second and third. Like, I'd say maybe 40% or so of the orders lately been returning customers because they saw it, they got it in their hands like, oh shit, this is pretty nice. And they keep reordering and asking for other ideas, and you know, so we collaborate and come up with new things. You know, it started out as a simple little tray with a fixed stand. Now I'm doing removable stands, I'm doing different sizes, I'm doing, you know, all different colors and logos, and it's just like, you know, it just kind of mushroomed from there. So yeah, not being afraid to jump into it, and just collaborate with people. I appreciate everyone who's purchased from me and asked questions and collaborated and really helped me get better at this. Can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah, no, and you know, I got to tell you, compared to what else I saw out there, I was blown away how fast you got things turned around and out the door. And you know, don't be afraid, folks. Reach out. Now, I will tell you, don't be that guy that I've seen in a couple of the posts online where, hey, send me the file. No. You're not giving away your work for free, folks. Sorry. It doesn't work that way. You got to put in the time. Yeah, people with printers that just want to get the file and just start making stuff off somebody else's hard work, no. Now, if they want to pay you several $1,000s for that time, then it's a little different story, but that's up to you.
The thing about a file is that I have so many, and they're so customized that I wouldn't feel right about sending someone a fixed file, because they'll be stuck with that one item, right?
Sure.
You know, the pride I take in my work is that I can customize it. I can make it smaller. I can make it bigger. I can make a different stand. I can make it whatever you want, you know. And having that flexibility, to me, that it's a living document. You know, it shrinks, it expands with just innovation, right? Yeah, I could send somebody a fixed file, but to me, that's just a snapshot in time. You know, it's fixed.
Sure.
Right. So
it's much like what we'll go through as well, because we have different files for what we do here. Yeah, there's your general CAD file, which will give you like basic dimensions and everything else. Then there's the actual machine, you know, blueprinting files. Those are the ones that most people want to get their hands on, because it gives you all of the tight tolerances and everything else. But no, you're not getting those. Because, you know, it takes a lot to take that first leap and to start making things, and to take shortcuts in the beginning tells me what kind of customer, or what kind of what kind of a business you would be. Because if you're willing to sacrifice all off somebody else's hard work just to make a profit, then you're the wrong kind of fit for what I think we do.
I agree.
You know, I think, again, if you're willing to put in the time and sacrifice some of that to give somebody a high quality product, and you're not going to charge for it like both of us, you know, there's a lot of these companies out there that I'm finding out more and more every day, which is great, because it just makes sense. And if you're one of those companies out there that feel like you could offer something as well, where we could work out a collaboration where we buy from each other, or we buy stuff from you, or however it works out, you know, I think that would be great. You can reach out to us here. I'll have some links down below for how to get a hold of both of us. So if you feel like you can help either one of us with your product and pricing, things like that, then sure, reach out, and we'd love to get together with as many folks as we can and kind of get everybody into this little group of ours that we've got going now. And I think the sky's the limit. You know, we keep working hard like this with each other, and I think we're gonna make a pretty good run.
That's right. That's right.
Hopefully you folks are all really liking what we're doing out there. Please keep, you know, like, share, and subscribe. That kind of also gives me a lot of feedback as to if we're doing something right or wrong. And even for those of you that, you know, have to be the ones that sit there and, oh, well, you're rambling on, you're doing this, you're doing that, and the hard critiquers, I take all that into consideration too, even if it is not something I really want to hear, because it does help me going forward. And, you know, if you don't like a product, you know, tell us what you don't like about it. Yeah. Right now, what you see with these slides that we have, these are like 95% done. They're not. They're close. They're close. There's going to be a few changes, but you know, end result is it's going to look very much the same. It's just a few things that I've decided I want to change a little bit up on it. The other thing is, as I was telling Jerry off camera before this, we're considering doing a chunk style port in the front as well. There is also going to be a threaded barrel version with a compensator to give you that same contour of the, which I don't know if I really showed this or not, but there's, I don't know how well the camera's going to pick that up, but on the end there, we have a 1911 style, it looks like a barrel bushing, but it's really just, it's just there for the aesthetics of it, just to kind of tie it all together. And that's why these are called the JMB 3.6 and 4.7, because of the 19/2011 styling. But again, we're going to come up with a compensator, possibly, if there's enough demand for it, to match that barrel bushing look with a threaded barrel. And you know, let us know if that's something you'd be interested in doing instead of the porting, or combination of both. I've seen it both ways. People compensate and port, which blows my mind, but you know, if that's what you're looking for, we probably do that for you too. That's the world of customized guns these days, is that you can make anything you want, right? Yeah, you really can. You know, a special shout out to DSC Gunworks too. We've both had work done by him.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, Dave, great job, and congratulations on your new facility.
That's right.
Again, another hardworking American doing things at a fair price. You know, and I think the other thing too is, have you come across where you get a lot of that, how can I put it? I don't want to be harsh about it, but there's a certain group of people, you know, that it makes them feel better to go out and troll and, you know, just be
I have
be asses about things, you know. And I have to be honest, you know, a lot of it I just whatever. I don't let it get under my skin, because you can't.
Yeah.
You're not going to make everybody happy.
No.
We try really hard.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of it is you folks. You guys drive which way we go with products, and you know, we can only do what you guys want, because otherwise it's not going to make money. You're just wasting time and energy. So please let us know, you know, both ways. If you like it, you don't like it, what you do like, what you don't like, and if there's certain things that we can do affordably without redesigning the whole thing, you know, reach out. I mean, I'm sure Jerry's the same way. It's,
oh, yeah.
There's limitations, and we'll tell you if there's limitations that we can or can't do that. We have to be realistic. You know, sure, anything can be done, but should it? That's the really what it comes down to. You know, so yeah, you know, thanks for tuning in, and Jerry, thanks for coming today.
Oh, thank you, Craig.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure being here. Thank you.
And again, you can reach out to either one of us on Facebook. You can find me under BCG or HEBE'S Reviews, and you can find Jerry on
Facebook. 20. So is it 19 Staccato and L2011 is the Facebook group. I'm working on a website, and yeah, we'll leave a description of all my contact information. I'll leave my email address in the Messenger and all that good stuff. In the
we'll leave it all down below
comments.
in the comments. And also, you know, we're both working on websites. As a matter of fact, we have the same web designer, so
yeah.
We will have our website up soon. We do have ours locked in already, which is going to be bcgunworksllc.com. And I don't know if you have bought your domain yet, but
Phantom 3D Prints is .com is the domain, but I don't. It's not active yet.
Right.
It's not up. So
same.
It's I'm working on it.
We're locked in. We just don't have our website up yet. So
yeah.
Bear with us. We're getting there.
Still early.
You know, we won't be able to do anything with sales until we get it up. So we're really busting our butt to get it up there. And now that we've got a little further along, it's going to be coming soon. And yeah, so tune in, and we will catch you on the next one.
Take care, everybody. Thanks.
Hebe out.
And without scripting, that went pretty well.
That's how I like to do them.